everyone. I'm Reagan Vaux, and welcome to Reagan's World. And today is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. We've always heard our grandparents say, birds of a feather flock together. It's true for us, and it's especially true for our politicians. We need to take a look at their campaign donations and see who has bought their votes. I'm going to use Raphael Warnock as an example, as he is from Georgia. If you go into the FEC records, you can see his donations and where they're from. A ton of his campaign money has come from California. That's the money that got him into office, so he's going to vote in the same manner that California does. I don't know about you, but I want a politician to vote for what is best for Georgia, not California. The next thing we need to do is research what organizations they are part of and who are their acquaintances. I believe this is the biggest threat to our republic and our freedoms at this point. And it comes from an organization called the World Economic Forum, and the information that I'm about to repeat all comes from their website. They are wanting to restrict our meat to 16 kilograms a year, and if they're ambitious with their goals, then we get 0. They want to restrict our dairy to 90 kilograms a year, and if they're ambitious, we get 0. They want to restrict our calories to 2,500 a day. They want us only to be able to buy 8 items of clothing a year. But if they're ambitious, we only get 3. They want us to only have 190 cars per 1,000 people. But if they are ambitious, we will have 0. As far as our property, they would like for us to voluntarily give our land to them so they can build affordable government housing. But as page 40 from their article named How to Make Housing Affordable in Cities, it says, the state land acquisition progress should be transparent and fair. Cities should use statutory rights to expropriate lands only after exhausting voluntary methods such as land pooling and negotiated settlements. So basically, what they're saying is, you give your land to us or we will sue you and take it. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? And surely they wouldn't implement this till way off in the future, right? No. This is their agenda for 2030. Merely 7 years away. How can they implement a plan like this, you ask? Well, they have people like Bill Gates that bought up to 268,984 acres of farmland, which will decrease our food production. Gates has also purchased companies such as Memphis Meats and other companies that produce meat replacement products, which means that they grow meat from living cells in labs. The next words that are probably going to come out of your mouth is, they don't have the power to do this, right? Remember when I said we need to check out the organizations that these people are in? The World Economic Forum website boasts that it has 50 heads of state, 3 U.S. presidents, 3 U.S. vice presidents, 100 House and Senate members, and 18 of our U.S. governors in its organization. This is an international organization, and it also involves Canada's Trudeau, France's Macron, and many, many more. Some of the U.S. officials are Dan Crenshaw of Texas, John Kerry, our climate czar, and you wondered why they were pushing the Green New Deal to push us into smart cities. It didn't say that Trump was a member, but in 2020 he spoke in Davos, so I'm going to include him as guilt by association. Pete Buttigieg, our transportation czar. That's how we get to 190 cars per 1,000 people. And we can't forget our newly elected Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Now, these are our U.S. politicians that are speaking at Davos this week. They include Christopher A. Coons, a Democrat senator from Delaware, Mickey Sherrill, a Democratic congresswoman, Joe Manchin, a Democrat senator from West Virginia, J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois, Kristen Sinema, an independent senator from Arizona, Maria Elvira Salazar, a Republican congresswoman from Florida, And the most shocking to me since I live in Georgia is our very own governor, Brian Kemp. Now that I've got you worried and thinking, I'm going to introduce you to Yuval Noah Harari, one of the top leaders of this organization. I'm going to let you listen to a soundbite on Obama singing Harari's praises. Then it goes into Harari speaking. And I want you to let me know what you think. Personally, I find it frightening.
We had the honor of having you on the program rather than me making a book recommendation. You've just come back from vacation. You must have taken a pile of books.
I did.
Which among them would you recommend?
On the fiction side, The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, terrific book, powerful, discussing some of the issues around race and American history. The other book that I really enjoyed, a book by an Israeli author, Yuval Harari, called Sapiens. And it's a sweeping history of the human race from 40,000 feet. And part of what makes it so interesting and provocative is that because it's such a condensed, sweeping history, it talks about some core things that have allowed us to build this extraordinary civilization that we take for granted but weren't a given, and gives you a sense of perspective in how briefly we've been on this earth, how short things like agriculture and science have been around, and why it makes sense for us to not take them for granted. And it goes back to keeping the long view in mind. Oftentimes when I'm going through a really difficult problem in the presidency, I think back to one of my first foreign visits to Cairo. And after I gave a speech there, we went to the pyramids. And I had all afternoon to wander through it. One of the perks of being president was they kind of cleared out the crowds. And the pyramids live up to the hype. They're magnificent. But as you're looking at the hieroglyphics and you're getting the background on how they were built and the Egyptian government at the time, you're reminded that I'm sure they had their versions of polls and scandals and economic ups and downs, and what's left is those pyramids. So that's what I mean about not sweating the small stuff. In the sweep of history, we get a very small moment in time. We try to treat people, I always tell my daughters, treat people kindly, be useful, use your time well, but remember you're part of the larger sweep of this big story that brings us all together.
Time and chance happen to them all.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
Humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Over. Today, we have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
the
to the test, of course.
Will help us, of course. It will make things, more manageable.
Surveillance
people could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it.
Natural selection is replaced by intelligent design. The era of inorganic life is now beginning.
In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us godlike abilities to re-engineer life and even to create completely new life forms. We are about to enter a new era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. Our intelligent design.
You are probably asking, but how do we fix this? My solution is this. Starting today, we organize state by state, and I say that because each state has different laws. We need to research every politician and see if they are part of the World Economic Forum, and if they are, then we need to research our state laws on how we get them out of office, or have a recall, kind of like California did with their governor, Gavin Newsom. By the way, he's also part of the World Economic Forum. I wouldn't know about John Kerry and Pete Buttigieg since they are in appointed office. We might have to petition the government to get them out. We need to stand up and remind them that they work for we the people, and they won't turn us into their slaves for this globalist agenda. Also reminding them of the words of our Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. By doing this, we show them that we won't tolerate their globalist agenda. And it's not welcome, and we will not become slaves. That government should have no power to tell a person what to eat or how many calories or how many pieces of clothing they should have. I would also suggest that people in all countries do the same before it's too late. Each one of us needs to channel our inner Patrick Henry and say, "Give me liberty or give me death." If anyone has any comments or ideas or needs help in their own state or community, please email me at reagansworld1@yahoo.com, and I will do everything in my power to help.
You and I have lived too long with this miracle to properly be appreciative. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. And those in world history who have known freedom and then lost it have never known it again. Knowing this, it's hard to explain those among us who even today would question the people's capacity for self-government. I've often wondered if they will answer, those who subscribe to that philosophy, if no one among us is capable of governing himself, then who among us has the capacity to govern someone else? Using the temporary authority granted by the people in increasing number lately, at all levels of government, have sought control even of the means of production, as if they could do this without eventually controlling those who produce. And always they explain this as necessary to the people's welfare. The deterioration of every government begins with the decay of the principle upon which it was founded. This was written in 1748, and it's as true today as it was then. Government is the people's business, and every man, woman, and child becomes a shareholder with the first penny of tax paid.